We've got a cultural bias now against these types of jobs, and it's really out there. And you point out that we needn't accept this as a fact of nature, but in fact, if our leaders, if people on TV, if people in the media, if everybody gets behind a different attitude about work, there's a whole lot we could do, a whole lot of levers we could push. It would be cultural levels and levers, and not necessarily just policy levers, and that would change the landscape.
Yeah, and I think the way to understand what's happened is that this is the cultural side of the economic trend we've just been talking about, which is that underlying all of this is this shift toward a focus on consumerism and kind of individual happiness as we see it through a consumer lens. And in economic terms, we've talked about what that meant for kind of just redistributing economic pie rather than focusing on production. But the exact same thing has happened in cultural terms as we've started to treat the job as something that's kind of, you should be following your passion and doing what you love and changing the world, and that work is your path to self-actualization. And again, if that's how someone feels about their job, that's fine. But as we've started to define that as what a job is good for, that it's not about fulfilling obligations and supporting yourself. It's supposed to be what gives, makes you happy and is fun and gives you meaning. Most jobs aren't going to be adequate by that standard.
Mhm.
And so just as in the economic sphere, we have to resist this idea that whatever you think makes you happy in the moment is actually what's going to make us happy. It is this parallel cultural discussion that has to happen. And as you said, it's a cultural discussion that can happen. I mean, I don't know if you remember, there was this fight controversy a couple months ago over so-called job shaming, where a former star from the Cosby Show got photographed bagging groceries at Trader Joe's, and some tabloid was trying to
Yeah.
do this to embarrass him, and there was this tremendous outpour of rejecting that and saying, "Wait a minute, that's wrong. This guy is working in his community to support himself and his family. How disgusting that you would try to shame him over this." And there was unanimous agreement on that point. So I actually take that to be good news. I think if people realize that this mattered, that how our culture thinks about work, what it means to typical workers, that's important. Um, that's a We already have agreement on the underlying point that we should respect those things. We just need people to realize that this is actually an important thing to bring to the forefront of what we're focused on in our society.